right out of the gate here, I'm going to say I am not doing this in any character whatsoever. I'm 100% out of character with this thing. And of course, it's become a very fine line between just me and the nutcase that hosts Oddity Archive. But anyway, this is completely off the cuff, so I'm going to be kind of rambling and stuttering quite a bit, and I'm going to go off on tangents, and I'll just go off on a tangent right now. You might have noticed I am not at my bookshelf right now, and there's a very simple and very non-cryptic reason for that. I was just shooting a Ben's junk, so really, if you turn the camera 90 degrees that away, it's where I was just working on that. It was simply easier for me to turn the camera, turn one of the lights, move one over, and bring the box here and just do it here. So yeah, no great mystery there. But anyway, I do need to make this announcement, and I have been really fighting making this video at all. But it's going to be, I'm not quitting making archive or anything, but it's going to become more frequent where I'm going to have to add an extra week between videos. Now, the reason for that is that this is going to be old news to my closest friends and colleagues, but one of the many reasons that I moved out here to South Dakota back in 2018 was that my father had gone into a certain degree of cognitive decline, which was ultimately diagnosed as frontotemporal dementia. So the garden variety frontal lobe dementia. And so this has been going on for over 3 years now, probably closer to 3.5. But my mom and I have been just intent on not putting him in a nursing home or whatever his insurance will allow us to do. And so we've been sharing, if you will, custody. So for me, I've had him during weekday regular business hours, and she's had him evenings and weekends. Now, of course, there are variations here and there. And when I went to Minnesota this past summer, my mom and I had worked that out well in advance. But there was that knowledge that I may have to just drop everything and rush back to Sioux Falls. Something happened, or if he was having a really bad day. But anyway, 2023 has not been a very good year for him. And back in October, let me back up here. With at least his case of dementia, it's kind of, flat, and then he'll have a very abrupt kind of downturn, but then he's flat again, but he never comes back up. So it's this always this kind of stair step, I guess you could say, going on. Well, we had a pretty sharp one back in October, and sure enough, I was working on the Halloween episode and trying to get the archive soundtrack album out the door. And one of the big reasons I was trying to get the archive soundtrack out the door was because of this, and knowing that I might not get it out at all if I didn't, try and do it immediately and just finish it up and all that. So anyway, we've reached a point where on his absolute worst days, he doesn't even necessarily recognize me or mom anymore. And I may have him 5 days a week, as it were, but I am still around to some degree every single day. But sometimes it's not there. But 95% of the time or better, it still is. But he's just become that much more needy, and it's really been my day job for a few years now to have him during the week and just make archive evenings and weekends and do whatever I can during the week, during the day on a laptop, as his what kind of day he's having allows. So anyway, as I mentioned, I'm going to have to have those times where I'm going to have to add an extra week between archive episodes. The plan is to keep it as regular as possible, but in the last few months, it's gotten to be a more regular occurrence for me personally, where it's 5 o'clock, and it's normally the time I'm starting to do archive and put in however many hours for the day, and I just can't do it. I'm just sitting there kind of cross-eyed and drooling at the computer or whatever, and would be lying out my ass if I said I haven't had a bit of a hit to my mental health lately. And that's kind of a flaky thing to say, but it is true. There is some objective truth to that sort of thing. I don't think it's me being oversensitive or anything. You deal with something like this, all the time. It does eat at you. So anyway, I'm sure there's other areas that I've just forgotten to go into with this discussion, but the important stuff is out there now, at least. So anyway, all I can say is, yes, I'm still gonna, make fun of bad videos and toss off the odd history lesson and all the usual stuff. Ben's junks, thrifting. My thrifting has been kind of relegated to Saturdays now, and yeah, I intend to keep the archive train rolling. It's just gonna be rolling a little slower now, and anybody that's ever known anybody with dementia, Alzheimer's, whatever, after a certain point, it doesn't just become all consuming, but it's I don't know where you can go beyond all consuming, but it just completely closes in on you. And in my case, it's worked out that when we do theoretically eventually have to do the nursing home thing or whatever, there's no quality of life left to be had at home, where I have to sign the paperwork too. So again, I don't like discussing this stuff. I know some jerk is going to say I'm being exploitative here. That is absolutely not what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to keep things from being cryptic and all, and kind of address why, at least in my own opinion, archive has maybe slid a little bit in quality in the last few months here and there. I've really done my darndest to keep it up, but when you have to keep pounding them out that quickly, sometimes things just slide, and I'll look at them and I go, how did I miss that joke? How did I miss that comment? How did I, that sort of thing. So anyway, that's really the pertinent stuff. So as for those extra weeks, I've been kicking around maybe doing live streams a little more often, although I don't know what I would fill them with. If you have any ideas, let me know. Otherwise, you're probably going to have weeks where I just simply do not have anything to post for new archive. I'll try and have something for archive annex at the ready at any given time, but yeah, just so you know where I'm going. And there is going to come a point where I'm going to have to shut things down probably for a few weeks or a month, and that could be years from now, but where I need to handle all the stuff that goes with the end, as it were. But yeah, there you go. Archive's not over, far from it. It's just slowing down a little. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and stop rambling here. I think you get the idea. Ben's Junk, the one that I mentioned earlier that I was shooting just before this, that's going to come out later this week. If all goes according to plan, it'll be the first proper archive episode of the year next week. Worst case scenario, the following week. And yeah, I'll see you soon.